So in the school also, while teaching, the teacher should have explained the mathematics first, and what does it mean, what is the meaning of a quadratic equation, simple harmonic equation and all, and then explain all the subjects that it is our vision of the world. Heat, thermodynamics, everything would have been explained by that. They should not do it separately for each subject and confuse the student that they are all different. But seldom, I don't think even now also in the schools it is done. It's not done in our schools. So it was, when I found out this truth, it was just like finding unity in diversity, that I have been studying so many subjects. Today that whole horizon opened up, that it is only the mathematical, one mathematics which I am applying everywhere, and it is our product. So that is the Sattva Guna which finds out the unity in diversity, which relates everything. Suppose each person is behaving differently. To find out a sequence or a harmony in that, that is the unity in diversity. So when the Sattva Guna enhances, you will always be able to find out a greater harmony, where even the society, where it is moving, what are the forces playing there. A very broad, comprehensive view always will strike your mind. So he says, Sarva Bhuteshu Yena Ekam Avyayam Bhavamikshate. One who sees one unchanging truth in all the elements. When we say that the whole universe, it is infinite variety, but the universe is appearing in my consciousness. What we are really seeing the universe, some is appearing to be outside, and thoughts, emotions are appearing to be inside. But the fact is that whatever we are perceiving, they are all appearing in my consciousness. True or not? So are they not all made of consciousness alone? Made of means they are all appearing, they don't have any other. Even the red color is consciousness, written in consciousness. It is like writing in air, elephant and a duster. The both are air actually. Elephant and a tiger, if you write here, or with chalk also if you write. Both are made of chalk only. Like that, it is all the consciousness. Some appearance is red, some appearance is blue, some appearance is gross, some appearance is subtle. The concept gross and concept of subtlety, everything is there in the concept of consciousness. So this is the Ekam Avyayam Bhavam. That Sarva Bhuteshu, whatever is that, actually they are all expression or manifestation or appearance. In the appearance is the better word. In the consciousness. And consciousness is not an object. Consciousness can only be known as the amness in us, my Atma. You cannot see the consciousness as an object. Who sees, he is the consciousness. So this is the oneness, finding oneness in multiplicity. That is called Sattva Guna. So Sattva Guna helps us to have the Vidya. Vidya means to move towards the transcendence. Move towards transcendence, but it also creates bondage and finally restricts us, where we have to finally overcome that bondage. Now, Sarva Bhuteshu Yenaikam Bhavam Avyayam Ikshate. Now, he is saying Ikshana. It is not seeing with the eyes. This Avyaya Bhava, unchanging oneness, you cannot see with the eyes. Oh, I am seeing everything has become one. No. The world will remain world. Ikshana is the vision of the Buddhi. Buddhi means where the revelation is taking place. Initially you may try to understand with the analytical Buddhi, but finally it will become naturally shining in the Buddhi. That is the difference between realization and intellectual understanding. You see, the difference is when we are intellectually understanding, well, I have analyzed, this is the Abhyaya, this is the consciousness, etc. If you don't analyze, you will again forget. To understand, you have to again analyze and understand. But we will call it realization when this analysis, finally the Buddhi undergoes a transformation, when the truth shines spontaneously in the Buddhi. You don't have to analyze anymore. Analysis is an artificial way. The truth has to shine naturally in the Buddhi or the foundation of the Buddhi. We call it Bodhi, Pratibodha Viditam there. That we call the realization. So, but this Buddhi application is necessary to deal our Buddhi, which had been working only with the fragmented world, divisional world, differential world. So the Buddhi has got is clinging to all the differential vision, clinging to all kinds of differences. Such a buddhi has to get enlightened with the oneness. So this analysis, repeated analysis, rumination, it is necessary to treat the buddhi until the truth shines in it spontaneously, sahaja. That shining of the truth should not be after analysis, it should become a sahaja. Sahaja means by itself it will, spontaneously it will shine. So he says that that is called the ikshana. Sarva bhuteshu ekam avyayam bhavam ikshate. That is the ikshana of the buddhi. What else? Abhibhaktam vibhakteshu. In the fragmented world where everything is divided, he sees the abhibhaktam, no division at all. The consciousness that you cannot divide it. Anything you divide, it becomes object. Consciousness cannot be divided. Even the subject-object division also will not be there. It is non-dual. So this is what is the sattvika jnana. Now he says that when that sattva-guna property is, it will bind you to this sattvika jnana. See, with this jnana you are approaching the truth. But it will not allow you to go to the transcendence, because this jnana is so enlightening and so, what shall I say, blissful, that you will get caught in it and you will only analyze and revel in this jnana. So jnana sangha, that is called jnana sangha. That means when suppose we are only dealing with the, either contemplating or writing on the scripture or reading the scriptures, and then we don't want to leave that. We get into that sangha, so much so that even we forget that there is something to be realized. We are so much immersed in this sattvika sukha, in this sattvika jnana, that we lose the purpose of that. We go on reading more and more scriptures, spending time with the scriptures, and we get attached to the scriptures. Throughout the day we will only chant verses and remaining with that, never caring about what is the purpose of the scripture. Shabdajalam maharanyam chittabhramana karakam. That is, it is like if you entered the Shastras and all, it is like Shabdajalam maharanyam. It is the deep forest of the network of all the words. And it is for bhuktaye natu muktaye. It becomes a bhoga, not a liberation. It leads to another kind of a bhoga. What is the bhoga? Sattvika sukha bhoga, sattvika jnana bhoga. That is also enjoyment. So you get so much caught by the enjoyment that you are not able to transcend it. Vaidushyam vidusham tadvad bhuktaye natu muktaye. Shabdajalam maharanyam chittabhramana karakam, or karanam, both can be. Vaidushyam vidusham tadvad bhuktaye natu muktaye. That panditya of the panditas, that means the scholarliness of the scholars, that is also like that Shabdajalam maharanyam chittabhramana karakam. That they get confused in the literature. They will, if you ask anything about truth, they will give a long lecture, not understanding what is the final meaning of it. So they are all for bhoga, not for liberation. Bhuktaye natu muktaye. They are not meant for liberation. So this, although it is a sattvika sukha, it is a sattvika jnana, but that also bounds us. And what is sattvika sukha? You go to the Sukha division in 18th chapter. I was in the 14th chapter, no? 1837 or something. 1837, go. Here the Sukha Bheda, 3 kinds of Sukha they have discussed. He says, you got it, 37th. Yat tadagre vishamiva pariname amritopamam tat sukham satvikam proktam atma buddhi prasadajam. Yat tadagre vishamiva pariname amritopamam. Which is initially like poison. It may not be like poison, but not, generally people will not like. But pariname amritopamam. But the end it will be nectarine. Any discipline is like that. Is it not so? Even if we ask you to not to bring the mobile, you will not like it. Switching off also you will not like. In our corporate workshop for 2 days, we were confiscating the mobile. That those who were coming for the corporate, because workshop will continue from morning 9 o'clock to 5:30. So their mobiles they had to deposit. We will keep it locked in the drawer, and only during lunch we will give them for half an hour. Then you will find that they are not even interested in eating. Everybody moving in the lawn with the mobile. And then again we will confiscate their mobile. When they go, they will get. And after the 2 days, they said that that was the more than the knowledge you have given, the bliss was to be away from the mobile. Many of them have written. So, pariname amritopamam. Initially, they don't want to leave the mobile. So, any discipline is like that. Suppose you are learning classical music. What sort of torture will be there in beginning? You will have to shout. You have to listen to your out of tune voice, Vesura voice, you have to listen to also. Just by shouting it, you are not getting relieved. Whatever you are producing, you have to hear it. And you try to make this sound, that sound, and the teacher also will say, he will not allow you to move anywhere, only this sound you produce for 4 hours, 8 hours. Sometimes they will say, you sit in the water up to the neck and then practice, then you will have a greater. Everything a music, one who wants to learn the music, they will do, practice everything. You know, I had learned tabla for some time. So initially to perfect my fingering and the sound, what my teacher did, he used to ask me, first of all, we were using a big tabla, which is very difficult to play. It's not the small one and you can do many things. Big ones means there will be a lot of the rebounding. And over that we will tie a cloth. A thick cloth would be tied so that the sound doesn't come. And then you go on hammering, because otherwise people will come running and they will send you away. So much of disturbing sound will be there. But we have to kick our hands so much that finally the fingers will become flexible. And then you remove the cloth and start practicing. There are various other disciplines also. Everything will become hard. By the time you learn, all these things will become hard. In any music, any practice, it's very difficult. Initial discipline is very harsh, difficult to practice. So it is agre vishamiva, because anything that is beneficial, you have to undergo a discipline. Only then, when you practice this discipline, you get the liberation in the world of music. Suppose you play, Bradman used to only throw the ball and hit it with the bat 100 times, 200 times without the ball going out here and there. Is it easy? Is it not Vishamiva? So with that practice he could bat well. Any sports, any exercise, everywhere you have to undergo a very harsh discipline, then only you will have the liberation in the world of that, whether it is music or sport or dance or anything. I always give the example of literature. When the boy starts studying the letters, he would not like to study. He has to be forced into it. He would not like. But after he has learned the grammar, he has learned the language, he will revel in the comics and the detective books and whatnot, the horror books, whatever he wants. So is it not a great liberation in the world of literature? Without the discipline, it would not have been possible. So every discipline initially nobody likes, but the discipline will give him the liberation in that particular field. Like that in spirituality also, unless we discipline our sense organs, unless we discipline our mind, unless we discipline our intelligence, how can you get the freedom in the ultimate freedom? So he says that yat tadagre vishamiva, it has got stopped by my touch. Yat tadagre vishamiva pariname amritopamam tat sukham satvikam proktam. That sukha is called satvika. The rajasika will be different. Initially it is very pleasant to the sense organs and all. Finally it will create problem. Now here, not only that, the last word is important. Atma buddhi prasadajam. Atma buddhi prasadajam. That means it results in a link, an anchorage in your Atma. Atma buddhi means Viveka buddhi. The Sattvika sukha, will always connect you to your self, that which I have been trying to explain all these days. Connect you to the self. The properties of the self is love, compassion, expansion, infinitude, unaffectedness, all these are their property. So normally whenever we are connected to the soul, it will result in a prasada also. The corresponding, the mind will have the placidity. That is the Atma Prasada. Whenever we are connected to the Atma, our being gets flooded with a placidity, which we call Ananda. Actually it should be called Prasada. That is the real Prasada, Chitta Prasada, Atma Prasada. So Sattvika Sukha are there, which is resulting in Atma Buddhi Prasadajam. Now when you are studying the scriptures with depth and so many things and all, it will definitely result in that Atma Buddhi Prasada. He is saying that will cause bondage. That is also a bondage. That is the last bondage created by the Sattvaguna. Sattvaguna bondage is the last bondage. So both by the Sattvika Jnana, which is giving us the unity in diversity, and Sattvika Sukha, which is the creating the placidity in the mind, they are also binding us to the Deha. Because all this Sukha, Jnana, they are all seated in our Deha only, our personality only. So we will not be able to transcend our personal attachment there. We will get bound by it. We will not be able to go to the transcendental level. You understand? These also have to be overcome. So this is what Sattva Guna is. Now what we are doing is Guna Karma Vibhagayoho. They are saying, this is what we are doing. Here we are distinguishing the Guna, that this is what Sattva Guna, which is revealing everything. And these are the effect of the Sattva Guna produced in our personality. And that effect is binding us. How it is creating bondage. Karma, Guna, Karma, and their corresponding bondage created by them. Similarly, Rajo Guna, next, 7th. Rajo Ragatmakam Vidhi. That is 14th chapter, 7th verse. 14th chapter, 7th verse. Rajo Ragatmakam Vidhi. Trishna Sanga Samudbhavam. Tannibadhnati Kaunteya. Karma Sangena Dehinam. Here the Sangha created is Karma Sangha, activity. They will not be able to leave that activity. And what kind of activity? Rajoguna is Ragatmakam. Raga means color, which is coming out of the preference and prejudice. Raga means preference also. That is clinging to a particular thing and hating a particular thing. So its nature is Trishna and Sangha. That is thirst for what I like and clinging to whatever we like. So it is actually a desire motivated guna generally. It is action. In purest form, Rajoguna means activity. That everybody will have. But when it is binding us, the bondage is created by a desire motivated activity. That karma sangha is because I am thinking that I have to win over this. And when he is attracted to something, either by money or fame or anything, that I want this, for that they will upset the heaven and hell. Everything they will do. That is the effect of Rajoguna. So it is a fragment, the clinging to the likes and dislikes, strong hatred and strong preference and prejudice. That is the Rajoguna characteristics. So with that they will bind. That is the most common bondage we have. So we have to understand that how can the activity be free of this bondage? The guna karma, how we will get rid of this bondage. This is what I have been discussing, that Rajoguna is particularly that it is always directed to the carrot of happiness at the end. It is a desire motivated. So if you keep that desire away and then remain active out of your svabhava, out of the sahaja activity, then the activity can be much more than others also. Tremendous activity can be there. But it will not have the binding effect. That is the free activity I am saying. So Rajoguna as such is nothing wrong. Rajoguna, the whole nature is living on Rajoguna, and we cannot imagine the kind of activities that are going on. There is nothing wrong. That is why you will find some knowers are tremendously active. What was Vivekananda doing in such a short lifetime? What was Shankaracharya doing? Running around the whole north to south, east to west of the country and arguing with people. Is it less activity? Can you imagine the kind of activity they have undergone? But it is all without the carrot of happiness. It is all spontaneous loka sangraha. So there, the Rajoguna, there is nothing wrong, we should understand. The wrong part is the bondage created by the Rajoguna. So what we have to do is to identify the bondage created by each guna and watch our mind, when is that bondage created. So you remove the bondage, let the guna be there. Do you get the point? This is where the crux of the knowledge is. Then next is 8th verse of 14th chapter. Tamastu ajnanajam vidhi mohanam sarvadehinam dehinam. Tamastu ajnanajam vidhi mohanam sarvadehinam pramadalasya nidrabhihi tannibadhnati bharata. See, by tamoguna by nature is a cover, it is an inertia. Ajnanajam vidhi, it is born of ignorance. Ignorance by itself is not bad. Suppose when we are in deep sleep, we are absolutely ignorant of everything. That state is the fullest possible state, absolutely ignorant of everything. So tamoguna actually covers up the knowledge. As such, there is nothing wrong. Mohanam sarvadehinam. It is actually deluding us. That deluding part is the problem. And how it is binding us by the delusion? Pramada, alasya, nidra. These are the three the binding elements. Even there also, pramada, alasya, nidra, I will explain one by one. Pramada means inattention. Inattention means what? By inattention, we are not able to know what is the truth. What is anything. Suppose somebody has come, you know him, but you don't look at him, by inattention you miss him. So it is the lack of prakasha, lack of revelation, is it not? Because of inattention, we are always missing truth. So sattva guna is creating revelation, and tamoguna is creating inattention. That means prakasha virodhi. It is hindering the prakasha. So tamoguna is working against the sattva guna by itself. It is hindering revelation. The next property is alasya. Alasya means it is just the opposite of rajoguna. Rajoguna means activity. Alasya is non-action, inertia. So the first one is sattva guna virodhi, pramada. Alasya is rajoguna virodhi. And nidra. In nidra, neither activity nor prakasha. So it is against both sattva guna and rajoguna effect. We generally in Sanskrit we call it prakasha and pravritti. Pravritti means tendency to act. So we say the sattva guna is prakasha dharmi. That means it reveals. Rajoguna is pravritti dharmi. And tamoguna is sthiti, inertia. Now, by pramada we means, it means prakasha virodhi. Pramada means against the sattva guna, that means prakasha virodhi, that means which hinders the revelation. By alasya means pravritti virodhi. Alasya, idleness, it will not allow you to work. And by nidra means both prakasha pravritti virodhi. Is it not so? Any difficulty? Now, is not a jnani also sleeping? Nidra he also has. Is he not sometimes feeling a little inertia also? His body is not all right, he will feel the inertia. Sometimes he will have inattention also. The wrong words will come. Forgetfulness is also another kind.